welcome! In this tutorial we are going to learn how to crochet this very pretty and easy summer top. We have to repeat only 4 rounds. It's a really easy pattern and it's multiple of 2, but we work alternately, so we counted multiple of 4. We start with big chains and we need 2 chains to crochet 1 time the pattern. In 1 chain we crochet the shell and the second front post double crochets. 2 big chains for the pattern and another 2 big chains to crochet the pattern alternately. My shirt is in the size medium. It's about 45-46 centimeters in the width. I used hook size number 3 and hook size 3.5 because I work very tight and I want it a little bit loose here in the width and also here in the collar. At the end I did a small border. This looks like small flowers, but if you don't like the border you can finish it with round number 4. So let's see how we start this really pretty summer shirt. The yarn that I used today is from Greece. The name is Lamar Sunny Colors. This is 100% mercerized cotton. 50 grams gives us 125 meters. They suggest hook size 3.5. I used both 3 and 3.5 and I used 8 skeins of yarn, but this is skein number 8 and it's a lot left. We start with big chains and for this we do at first chain 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1 double crochet in the first chain. So I do my yarn over, I go back to the first chain, I insert my hook, I grab the yarn, I pull through and I complete my double crochet and the first big loop or chain is complete. Chain 3 again, and from now we work our double crochets in the stitch that connects the 3 chains here on the right side and the double crochet on the left side. So I do my yarn over, I insert my hook into the stitch and I go always under both threads. I grab the yarn, I pull through and I finish my double crochet. And this is my second big chain. And again, chain 3, yarn over and a double crochet into the stitch. Here are the 3 chains, here the double crochet and here the stitch that connect both together. So always under both threads and I crochet my double crochet. This is the third big chain, or yes, chain loop. Chain 3 again and a double crochet back into the stitch. This is the fourth big loop or chain and we do this until we have in total 56 big chains. I have here my 56 big chains and I close them now to a circle. I go careful back to my first big chain. I take care that my chains doesn't twist and I go to the first big chain here. I insert my hook now into the first big chain, I grab the yarn and I pull through the big chain and the loop on my hook, and so I can start to work in rounds. Chain 3 and we count these 3 chains as the first double crochet and into the same big chain 1 more double crochet. Chain 2 and into the same big chain 2 double crochets. And we have here now in the very first big chain 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the same chain. Without chain I go to the next big chain and I do here 2 double crochets into the same chain. One, two. And this is the pattern in round 1. Again, without chain we go to the next big chain and here we do 2 double crochets into the same chain, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same chain. Without chain we go to the next big chain and here 2 double crochets into the same chain. And we repeat this now until the end of the round. Always without chains, we go now to the next big chain and we do here 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same chain. Without chain we go to the next big chain, we do here 2 double crochets into the same chain. Repeat this until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. In my last big chain I did 2 double crochets and I finished the round now with a slip stitch. I do a slip stitch into the third chain. I started the round with 3 chains. I insert my hook now into the third of these 3 chains and I do here a slip stitch. And the first round is complete. Let's start the second round. At first a slip stitch into the next stitch and a slip stitch into the space. So we can start our second round into the space from the shell, and we start with a new shell. At first chain 3 and we count always these 3 chains as the first double crochet and another double crochet into the same space. Chain 2 and 2 double crochets into the same space. Our shell is complete. Without chain I go to the double crochets between the shells. Here we are going to crochet 2 front post double crochets. So yarn over, I insert my hook into the space between the shell and the double crochet here from the front side. I'm under the first double crochet and I go through the space between these 2 double crochets. I grab the yarn, I pull through the second space under the double crochet and I go now through the first space again. And here I finish my first front post double crochet. I go to the next double crochet, also here a front post double crochet, yarn over, I insert my hook into the space between these 2 double crochets from the front side. I'm under the second double crochet and I go through the next space. I grab the yarn through the second space, under the double crochet and through the first space now. And I finish my second front post double crochet. And this is the pattern in round 2. Again, without chain, we go to the next shell, into the space from the shell a new shell. So into the space 2 double crochets, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space. And the shell is complete. Without chain we go to the 2 double crochets between the shells. Here we make 2 front post double crochet. 1 and the second. And we repeat this now till the end of the round. Let's do it one more time together. I go to the next shell and I crochet in the space a new shell. 2 double crochets into the space, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space. And the shell is complete. Without chain I go to the next 2 double crochets and here I make 2 front post double crochets. The first and the second front post double crochet. Repeat this now until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. I did here the last 2 front post double crochets and I finished the round again with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. 1, 2, I insert my hook into the 3rd chain and I do here a slip stitch. And the second round is completed. Let's start with the 3rd round. At first a slip stitch into the next stitch and a slip stitch into the space. The 3rd round is same as round 2, but in this round we do also chain 1 in between of the shell and the front post double crochets. So we start again with the shell. At first chain 3 and 1 double crochet into the space, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space. And the shell is complete. Now chain 1 and I go to the front post double crochets and I do here 2 new front post double crochets. The first front post double crochet and the second front post double crochet and chain 1, and this is the pattern in round 3. Again I go to the next shell and I do in the space a new shell, so 2 double crochets into the space, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space. Chain 1. Here are the front post double crochets from the last round. I do now here 2 new front post double crochets. 1 and the second and chain 1. And we repeat this now until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. I did here my last 2 front post double crochets, chain 1, and I finished the round again with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain. Round 3 is complete. Let's start with the 4th round. At first a slip stitch into the next stitch and a slip stitch into the space. The 4th round is same as round 3, so we start again with a shell. Chain 3 at first and a double crochet into the space. Chain 2 and 2 double crochets into the same space. The shell is complete. Chain 1 and here are the front posts from the last round. We do here 2 new front posts double crochets, so the first one and the second one and chain 1. This is the pattern in round 4. Again we go to the next shell and we do a new shell, so 2 double crochets into the same space, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space. Chain 1. Here are the front post double crochets from the last round. We do 2 new front post double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 1. We work here same as in round 3 and repeat this now until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. I did here 2 front post double crochets, chain 1, and I finished the round again with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. Round 4 is complete. And this is how it looks like. It's very simple but very, very pretty. We start now with round 5, and round 5 is same as round 1, but we work this time alternately and with chain 1 in between of the shells and the double crochets. So at first a slip stitch into the next stitch and a slip stitch into the space from the shell. And we start round 5 now into the space. At first chain 3, and we count these 3 chains as the first double crochet, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. We have here now 2 double crochets. Chain 1, and I go to the front post double crochets from the last round. Between these 2 front post double crochets, 1 shell. So 2 double crochets in the space between the front post double crochets, 1, 2, chain 2, and another 2 double crochets into the same space, 1, 2, and chain 1. And this is the pattern in round 5. Again, here is the next shell. In the space, 2 double crochets, 1 and the second, and chain 1. Here are the 2 front post double crochets from the last round. In the space between the 2 front post double crochets, a shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, and another 2 double crochets into the same space. And chain 1. Again, we go to the next shell. In the space from the shell, 2 double crochets and then chain 1. Then we go to the next 2 front post double crochets. In the space between both front post double crochets, a shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the same space and chain 1. Repeat this until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. I finish the round with a shell, chain 1, and a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. Round 5 is complete. We start with a round 6, and it's same as round 2, but with chain 2 in between the shell and the front post double crochets. So we have here the 2 double crochets from the last round. We start with 2 front post double crochet, and this is how we make the first front post double crochet here. I insert my hook into the space from the front side. I'm under the first double crochet and I go through the next space. I grab the yarn, I pull through the second space under the double crochet and I go through the first space. I have now 2 loops on my hook. I grab the yarn and I pull through both loops, and I did here a front post single crochet and chain 2, And now we count this as our first front post double crochet, and we do a second front post double crochet and chain 2. I go to the shell, in the space of the shell a new shell, so into the space 2 double crochets, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space. And chain 2. This is a pattern in round 6 again. Here are the next 2 double crochets from the last round. We make now 2 front post double crochets. 1 and the second front post double crochet and chain 2. I go to the next shell, into the space a new shell, so 2 double crochets into the space, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space. And chain 2. And we continue. We go to the next double crochets, we do 2 front post double crochets and chain 2. Then we go to the shell, a new shell into the space and chain 2. We repeat this until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. I did here a shell, chain 2, and I finished the round again with a slip stitch. This time I do the slip stitch into the second chain. I started with these chains the round. Round 6 is complete. Round 7 and 8 are same as round 6. So let's start round 7 together. We start again with a front post double crochet, and the first one we do again with the front post single crochet and chain 2. So I insert my hook in the space from the front side. I am under the first double crochet and I go through the next space. I grab the yarn through the second space and through the first space, and I finish my single crochet and chain 2. This is the first front post double crochet. A second front post double crochet and chain 2. I go to the shell, in the space a new shell, so 2 double crochets, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space and chain 2. I go to the front post double crochets and I do 2 new front post double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 2. I go to the shell, also here a new shell in the space, so 2 double crochets, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space and chain 2. We continue to repeat until the end of the round. We finish the round again with a slip stitch into the second chain, and we start round 8, same as we do this here in round 6 and 7. I'm going to crochet this now and then I show you the next step. I have here in total now 8 rounds, so I did the pattern twice. One time here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 shells, and the second time here alternately 1, 2, 3, 4 shells. I start now again the pattern alternately, and this is how we started now. Here are the 2 front post double crochets from the last round. We start the first round here in between of these 2 front post double crochets. So at first in the space between the front post double crochets a slip stitch. And now I'm going to crochet the shell. Chain 3 and a double crochet into the same space, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space. And the shell is complete. Chain 2 and I go to the next shell. This is the shell from the last round. In the space 2 double crochets and chain 2. Again, I go to the next 2 front post double crochets, and in between of them I do now a shell again. So in the space 2 double crochets, chain 2 and another 2 double crochets into the same space. And chain 2 again. I go to the next shell. In the space 2 double crochets. And chain 2. And we repeat this now until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. I finish the round with 2 double crochets, chain 2 and a slip stitch into the third chain. So, and this was round number 9. We start with round number 10. At first a slip stitch into the next stitch and a slip stitch into the space from the shell. We start again with a shell, but this time we do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So at first chain 3 and we count this as the first double crochet, a second double crochet into the same space and a third double crochet into the same space, chain 2 and another 3 double crochets into the same space, 1, 2 and 3. And this is the shell. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2 and I go to the double crochets from the last round. Here we do normally now 2 front post double crochets, chain 2 and I go to the next shell from the last round and I crochet here a new shell. Again 3 double crochets in the space, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2 and another 3 double crochets into the same space, 1, 2, 3, chain 2 and I go to the double crochets. Here I do again 2 front post double crochets, 1 and the second and chain 2, and we continue now until the end of the round. When we are at the end of the round, we finish our round with 2 front post double crochets, chain 2 and a slip stitch into the third chain. And then is our round number 10 completed. Round number 11 and 12 is same like or as round number 10. We work same as we do it here. So when you finish round number 10 with a slip stitch, then in the next stitch a slip stitch, also in the next stitch a slip stitch, and into the space from the shell a slip stitch, and we start again with a shell. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, then chain 2 and 2 front post double crochets, chain 2. round number 10, 11 and 12 is same. All the rounds are crocheted now, and I have in total here 3 times the pattern, so 12 rounds in total. Now we start again the pattern alternately, and this time we have a small change, and same as we start to crochet now our round, we will do it until we finish our shirt. Here is the end of the round. I did a slip stitch. I do also in the next stitch a slip stitch, and also in the space a slip stitch. And we start alternately. That means we start now with double crochets. Chain 3, we count this as the first double crochet, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. Now chain 3. Here are the front post double crochets. We work alternately, so we start with a shell. In the space between the front post double crochets, 3 double crochets into the same space. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 2 and another 3 double crochets into the same space. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 3. Here we have the shell from the last round. We do into the space 2 double crochets. 1 and the second. Chain 3 again. Here are the front post double crochets. In the space between of them a shell. So 3 double crochets into the space. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 2 and another 3 double crochets into the same space. And chain 3. And this is how we work from now. Our shells with 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets and chain 3. We do this until we reach our armpits. I don't know how many rounds I need, but when I am done, I open my cam again and I tell you how many rounds I needed in total until I reach my armhole. I crocheted 4 times the pattern, and I have here now 16 rounds. And at this point I want to create now my armholes. In total I have 28 shells. 28 because the pattern is multiple of 2. That means 2 big chains gives us 1 time the pattern. In 1 big chain we have 2 double crochets and the second a shell. I started my sweater with 56 big chains, so I have 28 times the pattern, 28 shells. So what I'm going to do now is I count 6 shells for one arm, 6 shells for the second arm, and 8 shells for the front part and 8 shells for the back part. And this is how I counted it. Here is the end of the last round. I finished the round with a slip stitch. Here is the slip stitch, and here is my first marker between the shell and the slip stitch, my first marker. I count now after this marker 1 shell, a second shell, here is the third one, 4, 5 and 6 shells. Here is the shell number 6, here the space, and here 2 front post double crochets. And after this 2 front post double crochets is the second marker here. So we have between the first and the second marker 6 shells. This is the first armhole. Now here is the second marker and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shells. In front of this shell is my marker. And I count now. Here is the marker 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shells. And here is the second marker. So here the first marker, here the second marker, and in between of them we have again 6 shells. And this is the second armhole. Let's start the next round. So now we create the first armhole. Here is the end of the round. I start again the pattern, so we work again alternately. Here we have the 2 front post double crochets from the last round. So we start now with a shell. At first a slip stitch in the space between these 2 front post double crochets. And here we start now our shell. Chain 3 and 2 double crochets into the same space. Chain 2 and another 3 double crochets into the same space. So, and the shell is complete. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Now we crochet a big chain. So chain 3 and I go back to my last double crochet here. Over this double crochet are the 3 chains. In the stitch from this double crochet, 1 double crochet. I go under both threads and I do here a double crochet, and here is our big loop. Now without chain we go to the second marker. We skip the 6 shells. Here is shell number 6, here a big space, here are 2 front post double crochets and the second marker. Between these 2 front post double crochets we crochet now again a shell. So without chain I go in the space between the front post double crochets and I do 3 double crochets, chain 2 and another 3 double crochets into the same space. So, and here is our second shell, and we just created the first armhole here. In the next round we start again with this shell, then chain 3 and we do here 2 double crochets. Again chain 3 and the next shell, so we can work here normal our pattern. If you need more space for your armhole, you can crochet of course more big loops or more big chains. You can do for example 3. Then you will have here the shell and the first loop or chain 2 double crochets, and the second a shell, and the third 2 double crochets, and then you continue normal with a shell. You can crochet as many big chains you need. So now we continue normal our pattern. Chain 3. Here is the shell from the last round. We do here 2 double crochets. Chain 3. We go to the next 2 front post double crochets, between of them a shell. Again chain 3. Here is the next shell. We do here 2 double crochets. We work the pattern alternately until we reach the second marker. I reached my marker and here I'm going to create now the second armhole. So here is the last shelf from the front or back part, and here the marker. In the space from the shell I did 2 double crochets and chain 3. Now here are the 2 double crochets, here is my marker, and here the 2 front post double crochets from the last round. Here is the first marker and here the second. In between of them we counted 6 shells for the armhole. So I skip now the space and I go to the front post double crochets. In the space between the front post double crochets we do now a shell. So 3 double crochets, chain 2 and another 3 double crochets into the same space. And the shell is complete. Now a big chain, so chain 3. I go back to my last double crochet here. Over this double crochet are the 3 chains, and I do, in the stitch from the double crochet, I go under both threads a new double crochet. And here is our big chain. Without chain, I'm going to skip now the 6 shells and I go to the next marker. Here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shells. Here is my marker, and here are the 2 front post double crochets from the last round. Also here, in the space between the 2 front post double crochets, a shell. So again, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and another 3 double crochets into the same space. And here's our second armhole. We have again shell, big chain, shell, and we continue now normal with the pattern. So chain 3, here is the shell from the last row, 2 double crochets in the space, chain 3, a shell between the front post double crochets. Continue normal the pattern until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. Here is the last shell. I did in the space 2 double crochets, chain 3, and I finished the round with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. We start the next round, and we start of course again with a shell. So at first a slip stitch into the next stitch, also in the next stitch a slip stitch, and in the space a slip stitch. We start with our shell, chain 3 and 2 double crochets into the same space. Chain 2 and another 3 double crochets into the same space. And the shell is complete. Now you can continue with chain 3 and 2 double crochets in the big chain, but in this round I want to make only chain 1. Then I go to the big chain and I do here 2 double crochets, chain 1, and here is the next shell. In the space a new shell, 3 double crochets, chain 2 and another 3 double crochets into the same space. So, and this is how it looks like. I did here only in this round. In the next round I will make again chain 3, but in this round I did only chain 1 because I don't want here now very big holes. But you can do of course also 3 chains if you like. And now we continue normal our pattern. Chain 3. Here are the 2 double crochets. From the last round we do front post double crochets. Chain 3, and we continue normal our pattern. So we go here to the next shell in the space, a new shell, chain 3, 2 front post double crochets, chain 3, a shell, chain 3, front post double crochet. We continue until the end of the round. We finish the round with a slip stitch into the third chain, and we start the next round. A shell in the space from the shell, then chain 3, and here we do front post double crochets, chain 3, shell. We work normal hour pattern until we reach the length that we want, and then we make together a small border. I reached the length that I need for my summer top, and I did here after the armhole 9 times the pattern. You can make your short, of course, longer or shorter if you like. So now I want to crochet one last round with a small border. If you don't like the border, you can finish also here your top. Looks also very nice with the shells only. So here is the end of the round. I finished my round here with a slip stitch, and I change now to hook size number 3. And I start here with chain 3. My stitches are very big now here because I make my videos also in Greek and German, and I have to unravel every time, but I fix it later. So I have now 3 chains here, and I'm going to crochet 3 double crochets together in this very first stitch. I make my yarn over, I insert my hook into the first stitch, I grab the yarn and I pull through. Now grab the yarn, pull through the first loop, grab the yarn, pull through the next 2 loops, and keep 2 loops on the hook. We do now a second double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through the first loop, grab the yarn, pull through the next 2 loops, and we have now 3 loops on the hook. And now a third double crochet, again yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through the first loop, grab the yarn, pull through the next 2 loops, and now we have 4 loops on the hook. Grab the yarn and pull through all these 4 loops. Skip the next stitch and we go to the third stitch here. We have here the shell, 3 double crochets on the right side, here the space, and 3 double crochets on the left side. We work now on the right side. We crocheted a cluster into the first stitch, we skip the second stitch, and into the third one a single crochet, and again the pattern. So chain 3, into the same stitch a cluster, so 3 double crochets together, yarn over, insert the hook into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through the first loop, grab the yarn, pull through the next 2 loops, and keep 2 loops on the hook. Again yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn through the first loop, now through the next 2 loops, and we have 3 loops on the hook. Again yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn and pull through the first loop, grab the yarn, pull through the next 2 loops, and we have now 4 loops on the hook. Grab the yarn and pull through this 4 loops. Here is the space between the double crochets. Into this space a single crochet, and again the cluster. Chain 3 at first, and now yarn over. I insert my hook now into the space, I grab the yarn, pull through, I grab the yarn through the first loop, now through the next 2 loops, and I keep 2 loops on my hook, and again yarn over. I insert my hook into the space, and I do the second double crochet, and again yarn over into the same space and a third double crochet. I have now 4 loops on the hook. I grab the yarn and I pull through this 4 loops. Here we have the 3 double crochets from our shell on the left side. I insert my hook into the first double crochet and I do again here a single crochet and the pattern, chain 3, and we crochet again 3 double crochets together in the same stitch. So the first double crochet, the second double crochet, and the third double crochet into the same stitch. 4 loops are on the hook. I grab the yarn and I go through this 4 loops. I skip the second double crochet and I go to the third one. Also here a single crochet into the third stitch, chain 3, and I crochet again 3 double crochets together in the same stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. I grab the yarn and I go through all the 4 loops on my hook. Skip the big space and we go here to the front post double crochets. I insert my hook now between these 2 front post double crochets. I do a single crochet and again the pattern, chain 3, and 3 double crochets together into the same space. One, 2, and 3. Skip the space and we go to the next shell. Into the first stitch a single crochet and we start again with our pattern. Hope that doesn't like. So, and this is how it looks like. It's a really nice beautiful border and it looks like a flower. So we continue now. We make our clusters, I think you call it, always into the first stitch. We skip the second and then into the third stitch. Then into the space, into the next stitch. We skip the second stitch into the third stitch. And then between the front post double crochets. It's very easy to make and it looks really nice. I'm going to finish this now and then I show you the next step. Finished my round and the border looks like small flowers, and if you iron this a little bit then it looks really very pretty. I finished the round again with a slip stitch and I did it here in the first stitch from the last round here, not in the third chain, in the stitch from the double crochet. What I'm going to do now is to crochet around the collar and then is my shirt finished, completed. If you want your sleeves longer, you can continue to work the pattern alternately and at the end you can do again the border. So let's see how we start to crochet here around the collar. We started the shirt with big chains here, with big loops. I start here, here's my thread, I insert my hook into the first big chain here and I work again with hook size number 3. I grab the yarn and I start now with chain 3. We count the 3 chains again as a double crochet and 1 double crochet into the same chain, and I do it as I did it before. So yarn over, I insert my hook into the chain, I grab the yarn, I pull through. Now, grab the yarn, pull through the first loop, grab the yarn, pull through the next 2 loops, grab the yarn and pull through the last 2 loops. We have now 2 double crochets. And I go to the next big chain here. I insert my hook into this chain and I do a single crochet. Again, chain 3 and the double crochet. Yarn over, insert the hook into the same chain, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through the first loop, grab the yarn, pull through the next 2 loops, grab the yarn and pull through the last 2 loops. We have again 2 double crochets. I go to the next big chain and here again a single crochet. Chain 3 and a double crochet into the same chain. We go to the next big chain, a single crochet, chain 3 and a double crochet into the same chain. And we continue now until the end of the round. The round is completed and this is how it looks like. And it looks really very nice. So our summer shirt is completed now. I hope you like it same as I do. It's a really nice and easy pattern. I say again, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, push the like button if you like. Until next time, thank you.